two primary principal uses on one lot. So that would be an unresolved question from the ZBA, which would obviously affect what type of variances you would need going forward.
Would you be open to a different design where this could marry into one building, maybe like an L shape, to avoid the variance and maybe save some time?
Possible variance, it's
Possible variance.
it's up to the ZBA now for interpretation.
What is the, you mean, the definition of multiple dwelling is before the zoning board right now, and how many principal uses are allowed on the lot?
There's been another project in front of the village with multiple dwelling housing. And what they came in with was very similar to you, two buildings on one lot.
Okay,
They got an interpretation from the building inspector that no, one building is allowed, not two.
okay.
For the last year, that's been kicking around and is still in front of the ZBA. That was a big part of the reason for the executive session, was what are the impacts of that question on what you're proposing here. You can join the other applicant with that question with the ZBA, but the board is asking, are you open to considering an alternate layout if you're not going to subdivide, where you configure this as one building instead of two?
Okay, well, why don't we go down that road? If we configure it as one building, we would still be limited to 7 units.
You would, either way, you would need a variance
For the
for the
eighth
number
unit.
of units.
Correct.
But are you needing another variance for two buildings on one property or not?
Yeah, I was not aware of this other project. I wasn't aware of an open interpretation.
I wasn't aware that we were doing away with the subdivision, or I would have told you.
Okay. Well, I don't have an answer. I mean, my initial reaction is taking the planning board's thought of creating a streetscape, a village streetscape, you know, between the two buildings. I thought was a great idea. That's why we incorporated it. Well, I wanted to work along with the village, you know, try to incorporate this design. In addition to that, now it's balanced. You have 4 units and 4 units. So it's symmetrical, it works well. If we L-shape it, I mean, I think,
It would be more like a courtyard for the owners.
yeah, I mean, but to speak just, you know, fluidly or frankly, we would lose the balance, and so the argument to get the 8th unit would be diminished.
Then it would just be a variance you'd have to ask for from the ZBA, right? If you
Well,
leave
we
it
can
as
wait,
two
we
buildings.
can wait to see their their
Or
interpretation.
For the
Well,
top
it's,
of it.
I mean, without a variance, it's 6 units.
So
You
10
have
down?
10,000 per
you have
unit.
66,779 square feet. That is 6 units by right.
Yes. Well, what would it gain if we put the subdivision down? Just the interpretation
eliminate-
from the zoning.
You eliminate the question of, is 2 buildings on
Allowed.
one property a problem or not? Each one comes with its own set of challenges, but it's your choice. The question of 2 buildings, we don't know when the answer will come. That's not up to this board.
And that's been before the zoning board for over a year, close to a year?
It's been
No, there
discussed
was-
with the village,
Yeah, there
not
was-
necessarily with the zoning board.
Yeah, there was changes in the plan, so that, which caused them to have to come back to us to get the referral again. There's multiple reasons, I would say, why it hasn't appeared yet. I believe, well, I'm not gonna speak for the ZBA, but I think that it's gonna be on an agenda soon, I believe. I don't think that there's anything.
I mean, we could just hold off, go to that meeting, see what they say, and then make a decision.
So just so I'm clear, is it before the village board?
The zoning board of appeals.
So it's not even before the village board at all, just the zoning board?
No, it would, yeah, right.
Well, I can't make the decision right at this moment. However, what would be needed to get your referral to the ZBA? I mean, do we need to wait till the next meeting, or can I give the owner's decision to you in writing, and then we get our referral at that time?
Well, we would definitely need to know what plan
Right.
it is was being referred.
Exactly. No, I agree with that 100%. I'm trying to talk through the process. You know, how do you want to proceed from this point on? Because I have to talk to the owner, we have to make a decision.
Understood.
So we, basically what we're looking for is a layout that the board is substantially comfortable with.
Right.
Being able to identify specifically what variances you need, and then referring that to the zoning board. The variances tonight's map are very different from the variances from 2 weeks ago.
Absolutely. All right. When's the next meeting?
22nd.
Oh, 22nd. All right.
2 weeks.
Yeah,
This board
okay,
meets-
2 weeks, all right.
Yeah, this board meets twice a month and they conduct
I applaud that very much, twice a month. Thank you.
business
We
at both.
try.
They conduct business at both work sessions and regular meetings.
The
My
next
other,
one, I think, is a regular meeting, correct? This is a
Correct.
work session tonight.
correct.
Next one is a regular.
That's our training meeting then.
Yes, the 22nd, we're meeting early to do a training. It will be, it's conferring with me about
Agenda
procedure.
items will start at 7.
Yes.
Did you check the turning movements on the garbage truck, David?
Well, no, we didn't. I mean, it's not meeting the T-turn or the L-turn per the fire code. It's not a true emergency vehicle access radius. I mean, because the buildings are less than 150 feet from the road. So with the fire code, well, I'm reading the code as not needing the emergency vehicle turnaround.
Turning around the hook and ladder,
Right.
it's gonna be rare and in between, and with a lot of lights and a lot of firemen, if that had to back out onto North Street, I don't think it's the end of the world. The garbage truck that will be there twice a week, every week from now until the end of time, they can't be backing out. We have to know that they can easily get to the dumpster and easily turn around and pull out. I think it's reasonable to expect a decent amount of 30, maybe 40-foot trucks on this street. Like your garbage truck, your regular delivery trucks, tractor trailers are gonna be pretty infrequent, I think. I don't think you need to design for that, but certainly at least a garbage truck.
All right, we could show the turning radiuses. Sure. Not a problem.
David, with regard to secra, so we don't know in what capacity yet, but we know that the ZBA is gonna be involved, so, we'll leave it to you whether, I mean, I believe a coordinated review would probably be the most appropriate, in which case I would like to see a little bit more, I think a drainage plan at this point would be okay. I don't think, things are gonna change, even with 6 or 8 units, I don't think it's gonna change too much. If anything, you'll be in a better position, planning for 8 and not for 6, so that when we, do refer to the ZBA, since they'll be part of the secret review, they'll be able to have some context as to, because I know that will be a concern.
But actually, it will impact the drainage. I mean, just the area itself of the buildings is gonna impact.
Understood, but if
So-
you're planning for more versus less, like if you're planning for the 8, which you'll be taking into account more impervious surface.
Correct.
So I'm thinking you could, I think it would be helpful moving forward, especially with a coordinated review, if that's the way you're doing it. I don't, unless for some reason you want an uncoordinated review, which would just be double secret.
Well, no, we still have an open, public hearing with the ZBA. So, yeah, I mean, let's go back in time a little bit. When we got the no matter how we got the referral to the ZBA, we went there. They issued us the public hearing notice. I mean, we sent that out. And we got the mailings and everything. And so then when we went to the public, to the meeting, they said I forgot whatever, but they couldn't review it, they needed to send it back to the planning board, and the public hearing is still open there.
Okay. Well, that would have to be, I don't wanna speak for the ZBA attorney, but I'm gonna assume that's probably gonna have to be renoticed, depending on what, because that was for a different, the first plan that you submitted, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which I'm trying to, what did that look like? No, I can't.
Well, it was
You were keeping,
the main house.
you were keeping the main house, so there was no demolition of the single family. And there was a subdivision, yeah, and there was, and the two, did you still have 8 units on the other subdivision?
No,
or it was only 4 units, right? Yeah, I would say that's substantially different, that it would have to be renoticed. So I guess, you know, the choice, like, if you wanna pursue an uncoordinated review,
No, I'm all in favor of it, 100%.
okay, so if we could, I think it would be helpful for the board to see, drainage, more things that aren't gonna substantially change drainage, considering the 8 units, so that if it is 6, you're just, you know, you'll be better off. And,
Can we see something on lighting also?
We'll illuminate the design,
Thank you.
absolutely, we'll shed some light on it,
Good plan.
yeah, just
just
see,
trying to lighten up everything. To answer your question, yes, actually, I liked the idea of period, well, on this particular design, with the streetscape between the buildings, I liked the idea of period lighting along there, that we started initiating or proposing that in conceptual phases, so we can definitely enhance that if this remains.
And John, just a quick question. The drive as it exists now with the in and out, is that meet code, or are we okay with that, or do we need to change? I know we talked about it.
The location it's shown now, I think it's a reasonable location, yes.
Okay. Right. And as far as parking on the street goes, is there enough room for one side parking, or two side, or
The driveway down the street.
Well,
driveway?
on the streetscape, yeah, it's one car garage, and then one parking space in the drive,
Would
yeah.
there be any room on the street to park at all?
We weren't proposing any parking on one street.
There,
he's talking about the driveway.
there would
Oh.
be no parking
On the entrance.
on a general basis when people have a party. You would have the option of having them post no parking signs, but the width of the road they're proposing is 44 feet, which would be enough for easily one on one side of the road, and tight, you could get one on each side.
And along North Street, is there going to be a sidewalk there? Or we don't have one now?
There's nothing currently proposed.
Isn't there a sidewalk there? I think I just walked it last week.
I don't live that way, so
I
I'm
believe you just
asking a
drove it,
question.
should I?
So is there a plan for a sidewalk there?
No.
There is one. I'm pretty sure there is. Yes.
Yeah, there is one, I walked it.
The whole length, the plan seems to show an existing piece just in front of the existing house that's gonna be knocked down.
That might be,
I will.
I pass it every day, and you have walked it,
I
but
know, I
I
just
don't.
literally drove it earlier today.
It's the whole way, I walked with my son, I don't think I would have walked on the street.
The whole way down.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do want to thank you for looking into the cluster. I saw your answer here, and thank you for considering it.
We did spend a
Appreciate
little
it.
time, tried to lay it out, just,
Thank you.
it was difficult.
Okay.
So you'll let us know which plan we're going to.
I'm a man with a plan, we'll come back with something. Imagine if it's a third option.
Oh, gosh.
We'll be here on June 22nd. First of all, I also wanted to thank the board for their, professional courtesy on the submission. We will have it in a week before, and we'll get that done.
Anything else that the board wants to see?
No. I'll actually just remind board members, of course, that 2 classes, virtual classes were emailed to make sure that we take care of them soon. One is on workplace violence prevention and the other one on discrimination and harassment training, so let's just make sure we take our training. That's it. And the next meeting is at 6:15. We're meeting at 6:15. We're gonna do just planning board process training with Stephanie, and the agenda items will start at 7 p.m.
It'll be attorney-client privilege at 6:15, so we'll be hopefully over there. That'll be